Well, welcome back, everyone. We're now in session 5 of our 6-week journey through the District 8 Pathways Enrollment and Engagement Pilot. Over this course of 6 sessions, we've looked at 5 tools, and this is the 5th tool. There will be one more session where I wrap it all up and review them all and show you how they work with a synergy when you really bring them together. However, you only have to start with one, and you only have to start with one in a very simple, easy way, the way that fits you and your club, and just take it from there, because one big shift in all these tools really add up to one big shift in club culture. But it starts somewhere, and it just starts with the first step. Today, our tool is tool 5. We're looking at the Pathways Progress Coaching tool. I'm kind of surprised in some ways that there's not more of that I don't run into more of a coaching aspect of Toastmasters, although there certainly is a mentor aspect, and mentorship is coaching. However, coaching can happen in a very informal way. It doesn't have to be a very formal setup. And a lot of times when we think of mentorship, we're thinking a little bit more formally, although it does not have to be, but we're usually thinking a little more formally. But coaching can happen anywhere at any time. And it's really just helping people make a next step forward. And it's helping them make a next step forward in a friendly, supportive way, which is what Toastmasters are great at. If you want members to stay, show them that they're growing. Now, of course, this is, even if members are growing, they will move, or some things will life will happen, and they won't be able to continue, and that's okay. But if members aren't growing, they're not likely to continue investing the time, and then they'll stop showing up at meetings, and then it'll come time for renewals, and then they won't be renewing. So if you want members to stay, show them they're growing. It doesn't guarantee they'll stay, but it certainly will keep more of them there. Today, we're going to look at a tool that most members never see, and probably because it's really only available to officers, but I don't think a lot of officers see it either. I certainly didn't until I had to discover it. And I was shown this tool by Evelyn Pierman, our division director, and she sat down with me for some time and was showing me some of the ropes. And this was really a game changer for me. I spent almost the entire year not knowing it was there. It was probably about 7 months into the year of being the VPE and VPM that I discovered it. So I'm really excited to show this to everybody at the beginning of this new year. It's a powerful tool, especially when it's used for coaching. That's not really highlighted on the site, on the Toastmasters site. They probably did think of it as a coaching tool, and certainly what I'm going to highlight today is how to use it as a coaching tool. It's built into Basecamp Manager, and it's often ignored. Today, we're going to turn it into a coaching dashboard of sorts. It's not as nice as an electronic dashboard, although it is digital, but it's not super interactive, but you can make it interactive. So we're just basically taking a report. It's a Pathways in Progress report. I call it a PIP report, Pathways in Progress. And we're going to reframe it today as a coaching dashboard, a way to support, retain, and celebrate our members more effectively. And if you'll recall back to our culture building session, I believe that was tool 3, you'll see how this plays beautifully into that. It gives you all kinds of ways to plant the seeds of a very supportive, growth-oriented culture. This is great for mentors. It's especially great for VPEs and officers because VPs and officers have access to it. Some mentors are going to have access to it, but VPs and any officer in the club has access to it. So this one's for you. And the nice thing about this is you don't have to be a pathways expert to use this at all. In fact, what I run into is most people in Toastmasters at this point, not forever, but at this point, are not experts at pathways. And this is what we're really working with, shifting around in this Pathways Enrollment and Engagement Initiative pilot. We're really trying to create a culture where it's a pathways from day one. Now in Ozark Orders, well, when I walked in, I was the 5th member out of the club, and we had to get 8 to stay as a club by the beginning of last year. And so we lucked into it, basically lucked into another 3 members, although my son joined, and he was going to join, but he had a prior obligation, so he wasn't going to join for a few months. He ended up joining early. But we made our 8, and I was elected in as VPE and VPM. And then the fun began. And I had no clue what Pathways was. I remembered there were projects involved with Toastmasters because I had been a member about 30 years earlier in Chicago. But now I was coming back to it, and there was a whole new system called Pathways of Learning Experience. And it wasn't the fault of the club, the people in the club. They weren't familiar with the tool either. They knew it was there, and but they really didn't know quite how to explain other than just you go to the website, you look for that, and you get on it, and you get on something called Basecamp Manager. It's like I'm hearing Pathways and Basecamp Manager. It was very complicated, but it doesn't have to be. And so we're trying to make a Pathways from day one culture where it's not explained, but people are just invited to it. And as they ask questions about it, they can learn more about it. But the key is getting them into it, not teaching them what it is. And that just starts with the first step, the icebreaker. And our tool number one was a Start Here button to help make it easy for members to become uh, engaged in that process of doing an icebreaker before they're even in Pathways, and it will lead them gently into Pathways if they already aren't. But we want Pathways from day one. In fact, we want it from before day one. Just a couple days ago, I had a call. Somebody had scheduled a 20-minute Zoom call with me, who's a prospective member. And so, as I was speaking with him, I explained to him that Pathways is the Toastmasters personal growth tool, and it's an awesome tool because he called because he wanted to do some personal growth in terms of putting his thoughts together and presenting them to other people. And so I right away started talking about pathways, and I opened up on the website. You can see the different pathways, and I showed them all the different things. And I sent them an email, follow-up email to the call, and and I pointed out links to all six pathways, and that shows each project in the pathways. You seem to be interested in that. And then, because of his interest, I showed him that. And then he sent back, he said, it's obvious that Toastmasters is really a well thought out personal growth program. I said, yeah, exactly. And too many people don't know that because it seems complicated. And in a sense, it is complicated. But so is Facebook, so is Instagram, so is looking up your work benefits on the portal online. Everything's complicated before you start using it. But once you get into it, you start pressing some buttons, you get it. But we want people to really get pathways from day one. And this tool is going to be another key part of your arsenal to help people to get enmeshed in a culture where pathways is really something that all Toastmasters are involved and engaged with as much as they want to be. Now, that might mean they don't want to be, but at least they know how to get there if they want to be. And that's the key. So today we're going to look at Tool 5, the Pathways Progress Coaching Tools. And here's how it works. You'll find it in Basecamp Manager under Pathways in Progress. Now, you may not really know what Basecamp Manager is because it's kind of hidden. It's there in plain sight, but there's so many other things in plain sight that it's hard to see it. So I'm going to show you that right now, how to find the Basecamp Manager under Pathways in Progress. And Pathways in Progress, what I call the PIP report, each row shows a member's name, path, and progress by level. And then there are little green check marks that show completed approved levels. And it also shows the number of projects completed per level, and a green check mark appears once that level is completed. So let me go ahead and show you that right now. This is one of the game changers that Evelyn Pierman showed me. And it's in your base camp. You don't even have to go to Club Central or anything else. You just go to your base camp. And let's see. Right up here in the corner, do you see? I'm kind of putting my mouse there. I think you could see that. If you see Base Camp Manager way up there, that's where Base Camp Manager is. Click that. And oftentimes you'll probably see it as a club officer when you're doing approvals for people if you go there at all, because not all club officers really get engaged in the approval process. But it's way over here in Paths in Progress, the PIP report. And you get this report. And it runs a little bit slow sometimes. But I'm going to go over here and show you. I just did this last night. this is what you get. You get your pathways in progress, and you'll see the name of the person and the path they're on, and then the levels that they're working on. And you can see this person here has completed these levels, so there's little green check marks, and this is what they are working on. So you see there's 0 projects of 4, 0 projects of 3, 0 projects of 3. And as you go, you'll see different people in different stages of what they're doing. And this is a reporting tool, but it's also a coaching tool in that it shows you where people are at, and it's a something you can use to open up conversations with everybody in the club, just on an informal basis or just formally. So what you do is you just will look at the person, see where they're at, see what they're working on next, and see like here for this person here, I would start talking about, hey, how's your project 2 and level 1 going? And lets me see exactly where people are. I don't have to guess. And when I know exactly where people are, I don't have to just be informed about it. I can take knowing where they're at and then help them move to the next step. And I'll show you a little bit how to do that in a moment. But what you can do is you can um, print it. And the way you do that is you go, um, you'll, on a PC, you right click, hit print. And then you can actually see, a lot of times, I saved it as a PDF for you guys, but you could get it printed up as a sheet and you can carry it into your club and you can just check people off and people see, oh, this is must be what they're doing. They're not singling me out. This person has that list and they're helping me to just checking in with me. Cool. It's not a big deal. Or you can print it, print it as a print thing, but it doesn't do the whole screen. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to do the screenshot twice. So I start at the top and then I'll scroll down to the bottom and then I'll print that. You wait till they appear so make sure it prints. But that's it. And then you've got yourself a tool that you can bring with you in club meetings. You can put it into a binder and you can yourself use it to help people move forward. Now, last week I showed you how to use this tool to do strategic planning for how you're going to get all of your 12 levels done so you can get a full set of checks on your scorecard for pathways completions. There's only 12 and there's a whole year. It's not hard. And as I showed you last week, there's really nothing impressive in this group. Everybody's an impressive person. They're all impressive. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is these aren't superstars in projects. They're people who are learning how to become superstars. And that's what our jobs as leaders is to help them to become superstars. So this is perfect for me because there's so much room to grow in. And so I just use this as a strategy tool, which I showed you last week. But now, on an ongoing basis, I'm going to take this into the club, and I wouldn't show it with names, probably more for privacy. Everybody knows who's in the club, but you really don't want it advertised too much. But I'm going to show you a trick where you can get their own personal list, which is pretty cool too. Toastmasters doesn't make that available, but you can make it available. So I'll show you how to do that. But this is the tool for you to really start looking. Okay, so this person here is on 2 of 3. Now, this person here, he's a student. He got real busy and he was scheduled to do a speech like 3 months ago. Then all of a sudden we didn't see him for 3 months. Now he started getting engaged again. So I know he's still around. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, hey, Alex, you were scheduled before for your 3rd speech to finish up level 2. What can I do to help you do that? You want me to get you up on the board? You want me to get you on the schedule? And so I put that back in Alex's mind, kind of get him regrooved into the Toastmasters groove. And I would have done it before, but we're so close to the end of the year that I'm going to wait till the end of the month. Then next month, I'm going to get him, he'll be one of my levels 2 right off the bat. And so right now I'm kind of in a holding pattern because I've got everything I need for this year. We're Presidents Distinguished, but I haven't stopped anybody working because everybody's getting to go. Now these 2 guys got on fire here. They're on my next list. And they were 0s like in the beginning of the month, and now all of a sudden they're both 2 of 4, and they just caught fire. And they figured out, oh, these are fun projects, and they're not that hard, and so they just started doing them. And so by the time next month rolls around, both of them have speeches scheduled Yes, both of them have speeches scheduled for this Friday, our next meeting. So by the time the month rolls around, I'll have my first two level ones done. See, it's not that we have an impressive board here. It's that I'm helping people make the next step, and as they do, this board will naturally just fill in. Let me push this down here. So I basically went through how to use the tool for growth. This is a review, but you spot the milestones and celebrate them. So I'm going to look at, let's see. All right. Oops, wrong one. I wanted to move this one in here. Okay, I want to start planting seeds of a growth-oriented culture, and I'm going to start encouraging people and plugging them into the club and showing that we value them, that they're seen, that they're heard. And so, like this person, it's like, all right, you've got one done, one of four. Let's see about getting you to the next level. And so I'm recognizing them personally. And then when the person's going to do a speech, what I'll do is I'll have the Toastmaster mention, well, this is their speech number. This Friday, this is their speech number three of four of their level one. They're going to be completing that level really soon. They're completed in almost a month. Okay, see now I've recognized the person. It was just an easy opportunity. It doesn't have to be phony. It should not be phony. But by using this tool, you'll be able to spot the opportunities. And so any of these zeros is going to be an opportunity because as soon as I get them to do an icebreaker, boom, I'm praising them for the icebreaker. Um, let's see. A couple of these people have, well, one of them at least. I can't see the names there, but I know at least one of them has done their icebreaker and they didn't put credit for it. And I'm going to get them to just report it so they get credit. And so boom, I've got something to praise. Hey, they just got credit for their level one. And so every time I do it, people are learning more and more. And here's kind of an effect of that. What happens when you start doing that kind of a thing, and this tool helps you to do it, giving that praise and talk, and it gives you then every time you're praising somebody, you're talking about pathways without explaining it, but you're inviting everybody who hasn't done pathways yet. You're inviting them into the process without directing explanations to them or direct invitations. And here's a case study right here. Um, let's see, where's he at? think it's I think it's this guy right here. Okay. Presentation mastery, one of four. He was at zero until 2 weeks ago. And he's been a member for a whole year. And about when I really started figuring pathways out, it was about January of this year. And I'd worked out the membership side. We had doubled our membership. We had 16. We currently have 17. We may end up the year with 20 with the way some people are falling in the line. But so I had that figured out. So I started turning to pathways. And so it wasn't until about January, then I started talking about pathways. And just when I was a Toastmaster, I would do announcements and I'd give announcements about pathway this or pathway that. And I just started talking about it. And this fellow is a lawyer. He's a very sharp man, very much involved in his personal growth, but he's a contrarian. So anything you tell him, he has immediately three reasons why that's not for him. And so I don't tell him anything. And so I one of my last speeches, my level five of presentation mastery was a persuasive speech, and so I was persuading people to do what? To do pathways, but in particular the start here button. So I was encouraging them to use the start here button with new members, and at the same time there were new members, and so they were hearing about the start here button once again, and I had a round robin. I like round robin evaluation. So we had a round robin, and he came up and he gave me some feedback on the speech, and he said, whenever Jim speaks about pathways, I always think he's talking to me. And I'm not. But what's really happening is he's talking to himself at a subconscious level. He's saying, this is a personal growth thing. People are doing this, and why am I not doing this? And then lo and behold, he's enrolled in Pathways, like a week later. And then a couple weeks back, he gets up for his speech. He's on the board. He gets up for a speech. He gives really good speeches, but they're random speeches. But lo and behold, a few weeks back, he gets up. He says, "Well, you know what? I never did an icebreaker, that icebreaker thing Jim's always talking about. But so I guess I'll do it now." He does beautiful icebreaker. We got to know him so well. After a year, we didn't know him nearly as well as we knew him after that icebreaker. And then, yep, that night he had one on the board. I know he knows how to use it, and I know he's doing it. So I'm looking forward to him moving. But that's how just creating a culture of growth, and then a culture where it's pathways from day one. Not that they're doing pathways, but they become aware of pathways just because it's a part of the conversation. And this tool allows you to have excuses to insert pathways into the conversation where you're not explaining to people, you're just telling them. If when you go to somebody who's really not who's new in the club, like this person here maybe, I'm not saying, well, you got to, let's get you done with the level. I'm saying, hey, let's get that icebreaker done. Here, go to tmstarthere.com. It's going to walk you through the process. And then I just start talking to them about the next step. And that's how you use this tool. You can use it to help them plan. Like, I think most Toastmasters probably could do 2 levels a year. That's about a speech every 2 months. They may not want to. That's okay. Whatever their level is, I find out, and then I help them to plan out, to kind of set the goal of, well, how many are you going to do this year? And I'm in the process of that right now. And so usually I'm looking for 2, but if they don't like to do a lot of speeches, then it's just 1. That's fine. A couple people have expressed to me that they want to do a whole pathway this year. And so I'm learning what they're looking for in their pace they want to go in. And then I'm going to make a note on my copy here, and I'm going to then know how I'm going to coach them. And they're going to burn out, they're going to get tired, things are going to come up, and that's fine because I'm going to coach them through that. Not that they may finish their initial goal, but I'll help them reset their expectations of themselves, and I'll coach them in that way. My goal is to get them one step forward, and one step forward in Pathways is one project. And I don't care how many projects a person's doing. Even leaders, you don't have to be doing a ton of projects. You can if you want, but you don't have to. But the important thing is do one project at a time, and always be working on a project, whether it takes you a month or 6 months or whatever. Just be working on Pathways going forward, and you're doing great. And you have no more than enough where you can coach people to make their next step forward. So spot milestones and celebrate them. Catch slowdowns before members drift away. You'll get a feel for how heated a person is in terms of doing Toastmasters, how much they're moving forward. Fan that flame when that ember starts to pop up. Start fanning it, and then when you see that it's starting to burn too hot, back it up a little bit and help them to reassess their expectations of themselves. We don't have the expectations on them, but what are their expectations of themselves? Are they being too hard for themselves? Help them to kind of let it go down again, but keep that ember going. So it's a coaching tool. And the biggest way is to use it to start coaching style conversations with people. Here's some coaching prompts you can use. Hey, it looks like you're close to finishing level 1. You want some help wrapping it up? That's when they've got a 0 on the board. Hey, what's been your favorite project so far? I want to hear what is it that they're really connecting with, and then I want to connect them more to that. Want to brainstorm your next step together? They may not know how to get started on a project. Some of those projects are pretty involved, and they don't know how to do those things yet. Like a lot of people don't know how to do a podcast, but it's one of the electives. A lot of people don't know how to do a panel. That's one of the electives in a later level. They don't know how to do it, but if you know that they're at that point, or they may not even know what elective to choose. So want to brainstorm your next elective? And so just get a feel for where people are at, talking to them one-on-one over a period of month to month. Just talk to them maybe 1 time or 2 times, but really find out what's sticking them and help them to get unstuck. And here's the key. Always start with curiosity, not correction. This should not be a corrective tool. Coaching, there's a correction aspect of coaching, but it's going to start usually with curiosity to really get what the person is struggling with and get their perspective on what the issue is, and then help start there. Even if you say they need something else, start where they're at and then help to guide them to what they really actually need. So start with curiosity. Ask them, want help wrapping it up? What's been your favorite? Want to brainstorm that? You're starting with curiosity. And it's great for mentors too. You can use this report in monthly check-ins or casual chats. I'm mentoring a few people in the club, and what I do is use that report to check in. So that's just a part of the mentoring process. You can track progress. You can recognize wins and offer support. And the importance of the tracking progress for yourself as a coach within Toastmasters, an informal coach, is that you don't lose track of people who are running off track. You can help them stay on track. And staying on track isn't your version of what they should be doing as Toastmaster. It's their version of what they want to do from Toastmaster, which you learn from them, and then you help them to achieve that. You're going to keep members this way, and they're going to be completing pathways, and they're going to be inviting people because they're growing and having a great time too. It makes mentoring easier by using visual data. I like visual data. I like the visual layout of it. But if you're like that, it will make mentoring easier. I can get the big picture, and then when I talk to people, I'm so much into details and the weeds of where they're at, and how I can help them move forward where they're at, starting from where they are to going to where they want to go. I can back off and I can see that big picture because it's all visual for me. I save my mental power for one-on-one work, but I like to be able to get a bird's eye view of where the whole big picture is at. I don't have to analyze a lot of data. Now, here's a bonus. You can print your path progress checklist. And so you can get each member to do this as you work with them. And it's really very simple. I'm surprised that Toastmasters doesn't make this available. Um, or if they do, I'm not aware of it yet. It's yet one of the thousands of things I have not discovered on the website, but I don't think they make it available, but I'll show you how to get it. So members can print a personal progress checklist. Okay. First of all, you go to Pathways and then you expand all. I'm going to show you how to do that instead of walking you through that verbally. Um, let's see, where am I at? Okay, I want to go to the learning dashboard. Actually, I'll show you how to get in there. Won't assume anything. Okay, so you get logged into toastmasters.org and you run through that screen. Okay, it's logging in. Okay, good. Okay, and then you hopefully you come to this screen. If you don't, go to My Home. And this is where the magic happens, or really this is this intersection of the magic. You can go all different areas for all kinds of different magic. But right now we're going to go to Basecamp. And in Basecamp, we'll have the person select their path their pathway that they're working on. And when their pathway comes up, go here, Overview. Click Overview. A lot of people are off today. They're all working on Toastmasters, apparently. A lot of projects are going to be happening at the end of the year. And then when you get to the overview, if this is not expanded, it'll usually come up like this, and then go to expand all, and then you've got your entire project list right here. And all you do then is on a PC, I'm sure you'll be able to figure out on a Mac if you're using that or whatever you're using. Right click and then hit print. And then you've got yourself a list. For some reason, this list will give you the whole list, which is awesome. You have your whole list, or you can use it as a checklist. And the person can then get their own big picture of where they're at, and then they can, use this to track themselves. Now they have a tool to track themselves with, and you can use this as a tool, with you to, they can bring it, or, you can refer to it, and you can help them to check off what they're working on. And you don't have to do these paths in order. And if they get stuck on something, they can move to another one, and then you can help them get unstuck when it's time for the mentoring. So this is a nice coaching tool for helping people to get the big picture and work through that. So you go to your path, then you go to the overview, then you expand all. And then you're going to right click on a PC and hit print, and it brings the green check mark. So if I had done some projects on that pathway, it's a brand new pathway for me, I would have some green check marks there. But it brings the check marks and all the projects in the view. You get them all in one place, and some people like that big picture view. I certainly do, and so I'm not. I don't really see that anywhere in Toastmasters to download it directly, but it's easy enough just to get your own copy. And you look like an expert, a master coach to the person who doesn't know how to do it. And so do it for them, and they're going to love you for that. It's great for mentoring sessions or personal tracking. You can use this yourself. So here's a tool recap. Pathways Progress Coaching Tool. Use it to recognize small wins. And if you are watching where everybody's at and their movement forward, it doesn't take a whole lot of time. Just be aware of it. You can recognize those small wins when they happen because it's on your radar, and you can just then speak up. And then you've got another mention of pathways. You're adding to the pathways culture. A Toastmasters member is feeling recognized and seen and heard, and they're growing, and you're a part of their growth as a coach, an informal coach. And you can use it to start those coaching conversations. Just pick a few and then just start your conversations there and learn how to do it as you go. And the most important thing is you're going to keep members moving and motivated. When they're moving and motivated, they're achieving Toastmasters' goal for them, that they have personal growth, and you're achieving, and they're showing that personal growth because they're completing levels. And you're showing in the club that you're promoting that kind of environment and you're active with it because you're racking up points on that scorecard, working your way in the Distinguished Club program, which, as I've shared with you on a previous session, it's really not about racking up points, even though I say it that way. What it's really about behind those points is that people are engaged and they're growing, and that's what it's really about. And by keeping track of it and the points, they help us to gauge kind of how, if that's happening or not. Remember, all these tools are really about small hinges that swing big doors. Okay. For me, the Distinguished Club program really consists of two big doors. Now, there was some talk about the easy points earlier. Yeah, get those easy points. But here's really what swings it. It's going to make the difference. The easy points aren't going to get you in the Distinguished Club program, but unless you're close, and then they will get you there. And that's why they're so important. But the real work is going to be done with these big doors of pathways and membership. And the members don't give you that many points, but they're vital because without the right number of members and the right number of growth, you won't be qualified for the Distinguished program. So for me, the two big doors on the Distinguished Club program is pathways and membership. And we got the Distinguished Club program, we got the President's Distinguished rather, and it was easy. It was not hard at all. People did the work, yes, but it was not complicated. We knew what to do, we knew when to do it, and we just did it. And it didn't take a whole lot of people doing it. It took a few people, and those few people doing it started creating the culture, and other people started getting interested and then excited about it when they caught their imagination. So it's not real hard to swing these doors, but it's even easier when you've got those hinges aligned and oiled. And all these tools are hinges on those doors, and they make it super easy. So what we're really doing is we're just aligning some key hinges to make these doors swing for you. And then with a nice, steady, strong push on the doors, if those hinges are aligned and they're oiled, it's going to move for you, and it's not going to be that hard. So coming up next week, it's our final session. We're going to bring it all together. These tools work with synergy. When you start using one, you've got a nice entryway into some powerful movement forward in the Distinguished Club program. When you bring them more and more into it and you get better and better using them as you go, you're going to see a lot of synergy. They're going to work together. I tried to bring some of that out today and showing you how they work a lot together. You'll leave with a strategy to apply everything you've learned. And let's finish strong and build clubs that grow with intention. This is really what it's about. It's doing it with intention. It's really not difficult. It just is. It requires intention, and once you have an intention to do it, you then automatically start becoming aware. And then when you become aware, you start seeing what you need to do with these tools or any tools that will work in your own club, expressed in your own way. So try this. Just get your feet wet. Try it out. Before next time, log into Basecamp Manager and review the report. Open it up. Practice printing it. Even just start using it. Reach out to one member with a coaching style question. Just one question to one member. Just try it out. And encourage a mentee to print their path overview. Or if you are certainly your own mentor, I hope you're leading yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you. So you are your own mentee. So print your own report and start using it. We'll show you how to use it with other people, and you'll get good at that. Small actions today build stronger clubs tomorrow. It's very difficult to get into the Distinguished Club program if you wait till the end. It's very difficult. It's a lot of fun when you just go steady and you're enjoying the growth of people and you're having fun and you're growing yourself and you're clicking off things that need to be clicked off. There's not that many of them, but you know when they're coming and you just do it. And it's a lot of fun, actually. So I'm just inviting you into that same fun. And you probably are in that fun already, but just in case, for somebody on the recording, I'm inviting you into that fun. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and open it up for Q&A. I'm going to stop the share. Awesome. Do we have any questions today?
I'm going to stop the recording.
Thank you.